Oh, my bad. Doesn't that aggravate you? Well, imagine how much being on your phone upsets your boss. Hey, listen, we all lead busy lives and we're all connected due to the cell phone. But here are 5 things that I think are going to help you stay in high demand with your career. Number 1, not being on your cell phone. You don't have to pull that out of your pocket and pick that up every time you finish a weld. When you finish the weld, get ready for the next weld. If you're waiting on the QC to inspect it, I guarantee you there's something that needs done. Does a lead need rolled up? Do you need to sharpen your tungsten? Do you need to go to the tool room and get an extra grinding rock? Do you need to start prepping for the next thing? Always think ahead. Listen, you're going to be in the industry as a young welder, and you got some old timers out here that's never owned a cell phone in their life. And as soon as they see one, they start grumbling and growling. Don't be that guy. Let your family know, hey, I'm going into work, I've got a 12-hour shift or whatever it is, and then only bring that phone out on your lunch break. Hey, if you make a cool, pretty looking weld and you want to take a picture of it, be sure the company is going to allow you to do that. There are a lot of companies that won't allow the cell phone in the job site area because they don't want to give away any type of trade secrets or confidential stuff they have going on. So if you want to take a picture of a weld, be sure that it's allowed, but always post that picture in a way that you know it's going to represent yourself and it's going to represent that company. When we're talking about posting, that kind of brings us up to social media. Man, you got to clean that up. In today's industry, companies are going to cyber stalk their employees. If you're going to work for that high demand, high paying employee in that outage or turnaround company, and you say your name is John Doe, well, they may look up John Doe Welder and see what you're doing on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself, but if your social media is full of things that aren't really appealing to a contractor, then maybe they don't want to hire you as an employee. If you post a picture, then don't specifically call out that company. If you talk about a job, maybe say you're working in a certain state or a certain city, but don't call out that contractor or that location, because a lot of folks are going to think of social media as a possible negative way that you can do some things. So it's going to benefit your career if you stay sharp. Staying sharp means staying clean. Yeah, you've heard it your whole life. Don't do drugs. But guess what? It's just a fact of life. These are company specific. Guess what? If you want to work in the nuclear field, even if that state has legalized recreational marijuana, nuclear plants are under federal jurisdiction, so it's not going to matter. And even if you're in a state that has legalized recreational or medical marijuana, the company can still say no. They can still drug test you and they can still have whatever rules they choose to have. So make sure you stay clean. Staying clean doesn't necessarily mean not using illegal drugs. As a young welder, you can get torn into a lot of things and a lot of activities where you're trying to, quote, fit in. So maybe it's your first time on the job and you've worked a 6-day shift working 14 hours a day, and you finally get a day off and you want to relax a little bit, and some of the guys that have been on the road want to hit the town and tear it up somewhat. Be super cautious. Maybe you go out and you have a good steak and you have a good time, but turn in early. Use that day to rest. Don't use that day to party, because if you do, a couple things can happen. I know a good friend who got kind of wrapped up in some of that. He was far away from his home. He was way out west. He was in a state he'd never been to, and he hooked up with some guys and had some good times, and they started painting the town a little bit, so to speak, and it turned into a night of doing some things and running from the law, and that got that dude thrown in jail. And it was to the point where he was tied up because he had court cases and lawyer fees and all this stuff, so he couldn't commit to a long-term 3-month outage because he was worried about all the legality and all the stuff that he was going to have to do in another area or another state. So don't get caught up in all of those types of things. While we're talking about working on the job site and things you can do not to get put down and maybe keeping your career in high demand, don't sit down on your bucket. Hey, if you've got a weld to make and it's at the level where you can sit on your bucket, you're not representing yourself. Take a knee, make the weld, squat down, get on both knees, something. But to a lot of the old timers in this industry, you're sitting down on your bucket, you're going to look like you're lazy or look like you're tired. And they see you sitting on your bucket all day, even though you may be working, then they're going to have in the back of their mind, hey, you know what? This John Doe fella, he sits down all day. We don't want to take him to the next job site, put him on the first layoff list. And that means that when the job starts to wind down, you're the first one to go, not the last one who's going to be staying there. The final thing I want to talk about to keep you in high demand is caring about your work. It doesn't matter if you're rolling up your lead, it doesn't matter if you're prepping the pipe, it doesn't matter if you're putting in the root or if you're making that slick final pass with that TIG. You've got to care about your work, because if you don't care about your work, no one else is going to care about your work. Show some respect for yourself, show some respect for your work. You're the first QC. You're the first person that's going to see your work. You're the first person that raises that hood, flips the lid, and is like, oh wow, this looks awesome, or ooh, dang, I need to go back and touch this spot up and fix that. If you care about your work, the quality will show, your reputation will grow, and you'll remain in high demand. So the supervisors will call you up. They'll want you to go to the next job. The people you're working with today could be your supervisor tomorrow. So to remain in high demand, follow these tips and you'll have a long, lustful career making lots of money.
So hopefully you guys like this video. We'll be putting out more videos on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to that. And also check out our website. We have links and we also have shop for clothing and a virtual tour. Until next time, see you there.